everybody. Welcome to the Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting for November the 4th, 2025. Would you all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The Goffstown Zoning Board is an elected board of 5 members and up to 5 alternates appointed by the Zoning Board. Currently, the board has 5 elected members and 4 alternates. If anyone is interested in serving on the ZBA, please contact the Planning Zoning Office at Town Hall for more information. The board has a posted agenda for each meeting and tends to follow the items in order. Tonight will be one of those that we don't. I will address that in a minute. The board will open the public hearing on an application to receive testimony from applicants, abutters, and affected parties, and ask questions about the appeal. The public hearing will then be closed, and the board will enter into a deliberative session to discuss the merits of the appeal. For each application, the board will decide to approve with conditions, deny, or continue the public hearing to a later meeting. You are welcome to watch the deliberations this evening, or you can call the zoning department at 603-497-8990, extension 815, to get the results. For an applicant's request to be approved, there must be an affirmative vote of at least 3 members. An applicant can request a continuance if there is not a full 5-member board to act on an application. Tonight we do have a full 5-member board. If you are aggrieved by a decision made by the ZBA tonight, you have the right to appeal to the Superior Court or the New Hampshire Housing Appeals Board. However, before appealing, you must request a rehearing with this board to preserve your right to appeal. Rehearing requests must be filed within 30 days of the decision and state all reasons why the decision was unlawful or unreasonable. Failure to request a rehearing may forfeit your ability to appeal. Now we'll go through and do board introductions, starting to my left.
Jack Shepherd, Building Inspector, Code Enforcement, and Zoning.
John Beliveau, member.
Leonard Stewart, member.
Jason Cody, Vice Chair.
Bruce Buttrick, member.
Kristen Dawes, alternate.
Charlie Farley, alternate.
Davis Allen, alternate.
Thank you, everybody. So we are going to start with the approval or correction of the October 7th minutes.
Move that we accept them as submitted.
Motion by Len to accept.
By second.
Second by Bruce. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. So I had indicated that we are going to play a musical agenda tonight. So we have correspondence and requested a continuance for the last case of the evening. So we're going to do that one first so that we can, any abutters that are here for that case can not have to stay for the entire thing just to find out we're not going to do it tonight. I will appoint Kristen. You can Davis. This one's for you, okay? So he'll be our 5th voting member for this one. So the request has come in. There was a scheduling conflict with the person proposing, so they've requested a continuance until December the 2nd. I will read through it just so we have it on the record. So Andrew Cassidy, owner, and Shaughnessy Allard, PLLC, Brett W. Allard, Esquire. Applicants are seeking 3 variances to allow for multifamily on 2 abutting lots within the agricultural zone. The first variance being requested is to allow for the multifamily use, whereas it is not permitted per section 3.11 sub A sub 3 table of principal uses of the Goffstown zoning ordinance. The second variance requested is per section 4.3 the table of dimensional regulations of the Goffstown zoning ordinance, as the coverage of buildings will exceed the allowable 10% maximum building coverage. The third variance is required per section 5.14 of the Goffstown zoning ordinance, as the structures will not have the required public sewer system and will be serviced by on-site septic. The project proposes constructing 1 2-unit duplex on lot 19, in addition to an existing single-family residence with accessory dwelling unit, and constructing 2 2-unit duplexes on lot 19-1 with a shared driveway between the 2 lots. The properties are located at 40 Henry Bridge Road, map 26, lot 19, and vacant lot on Henry Bridge Road, map 26, lot 19-1, both zoned agricultural. And at this time, I would look for a motion for continuance.
Per the applicant's request, I move that we continue this matter to the next scheduled board meeting, which I believe is December 2nd.
Motion?
Second.
Bruce? I heard Bruce first, so Bruce is the second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So this appeal will be looked at on December the 2nd meeting. Thank you. Okay, so now on to the first thing of the night. I am going to recuse myself from this one as I have no interest in the parties. So I am going to step away and I'm going to appoint Len as the chair until this case is done, and then I will return. Don't forget to appoint her.
Wait, did you already appoint a voting alternate?
I didn't yet, but I had already talked about Kristen and Charlie.
All right. Very good, thank you, and welcome all. Okay, we're considering our first case of the night. Mark Ricker Sr. and Michael and June Choquette, if I'm not slaughtering it, are seeking a variance to allow for the keeping of poultry on the property, whereas the raising and keeping of poultry is not permitted within the residential small office District 1 per section 3.12 Table of Accessory Uses of the Goffstown zoning ordinance. The property is located at 33 Church Street, map 38, lot 16, zoned residential small office District -1. Take a motion for regional impact.
I make a motion that this is not a regional impact case.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Who is speaking on this case for the applicant?
Invite him up.
Come on up to the microphone, state your name for the record, and tell us what you'd like to do or what you're seeking here.
My name's Mark Ricker, and we lived there for close to 18 years, 17, 18 years. We've always had poultry. Actually, before we realized it, we had a rooster. Nobody ever complained about it, but he died a couple years ago. And we only have 7 chickens. We have 3 fenced-in areas. There's one, they're totally fenced in while we're gone. There's a fenced-in area around that pen that keeps them in while we're home. And then we got a stockade fence almost all the way around the property except for an opening, which I fence in when I'm cleaning them out so they can get out of my way. And the food's kept in one self-feeding container. It's not scattered. We use the chicken manure for the garden, and we just keep the birds for pets and eggs. We don't sell eggs. We don't do anything like that.
Okay. Anything further you'd like to add, or?
I mean, chickens, they help keep the ticks down. You know, they keep the area clean of pets. They actually eat mice.
All right. Let me ask you, in looking at your application, and you don't have to. There are a number of points there when you're asking for a variance. Is there anything you'd like to add, anything that you've submitted in writing? You can do it at this point, and then I'm gonna open it to questions from the board, so.
I mean, the only other thing I've done is I went around to all the neighbors and asked them if they had a problem with it. I handed in a paper with their statement saying they don't mind the chickens being there.
Okay, if there's nothing further, you can feel free to take a seat. I'll go around asking from the board. Charlie, you have questions? Come on back up, Mr. Choquette. There's questions from a board member.
Is there anybody else in the audience that would
You
like
want
to
Mr.
speak?
Choquette, the owner, or do you want Mr. Ricker? I'm just the owner.
You're the landlord,
I'm the
Mr.
landlord. Mr. Ricker rents from me. He's the one with.
I suspect that as the owner of the property, that we might have questions for you all.
Okay.
Oh, do you have anything? Please come up to the table, state your name for the record, and if you have anything to add to what was said, please go ahead.
My name is Michael Choquette. I live at 77 Mass Road in Goffstown. And I'm only here because Mark asked me about the chickens. He has had the chickens for all the period of time that he's been renting from me. And I haven't heard any complaints directly toward me about the chickens.
Okay,
I'm only here to support Mark.
okay, thank you. Board members?
I'd like to hear from the audience and see what else has to come up. If there's anybody.
Any abutters?
All right, let me first ask, do we have in the audience any abutters to the property who would like to speak either for or against this proposal? Okay. Seeing none, I will note that we did receive a comment as I'm going through my pile of papers here from one abutter in regard to this proposal who expressed opposition, who is saying they had not complained over the number of years because they weren't aware that it was against town regulations, but to not mistake their silence for approval of it. That is the one comment that was submitted in writing through the board. Once again, I'll go around. Are there any members of the public who are not abutters who would like to be heard on this? All right, hearing none. Any members of the board have questions for either Mr. Choquette or Mr. Ricker?
I have a question for Jack. Was this a code enforcement complaint?
Yes.
It came in as a code enforcement?
What were the specifics of the code enforcement complaint? Vermin, smell,
There was
or?
rats in the neighbor's yard and eating through their fence. And just rats in general. And that they had to, put poison out to get rid of them.
One moment, sir. Any other board members? Davis?
So this non-compliance was found incidentally in responding to the code enforcement on the issue with the rats?
Yes.
Okay.
Issue with the rats and the chickens they weren't approved to be there
Okay.
since 2008.
Sir?
I'd like to just ask a question in regards to the rats, vermin. Has there been any official observation of that?
No, sir.
So it's just taking a neighbor's response that there's rats, but there's no traps that were set and no
No.
any evidence. There's no evidence at all that there's rats. That's all I'm asking.
They didn't come forward with any evidence, no.
And there's no proof that the rats came from our property versus the trash cans of a bin next door or the commercial building across the street. I'm just asking a question. Again, I wasn't even here to speak, but
No,
I'm asking.
that wasn't part of the complaint.
Okay, I'm just asking if there's any official observation, and I'm hearing that there is not.
No, I answer code enforcement complaints.
No, I'm not, I'm just asking if there's any evidence,
No,
and that's fine. So we're just taking the words of a neighbor.
neighbors, just like taking words of neighbors saying they're okay.
No, I get it, I understand, it's just, there's other things that attract rodents, birds eaters,
I agree.
and
Dumpsters?
dumpsters, things like that. So if there was evidence of rats, doesn't necessarily mean that there is rats from our property, and the fact that there's no observation or any evidence. Thank you.
Anyone else? I mean, my observation here is, and I've been on this board for quite a long time, 17 or 18 years, the domestic poultry in residential zones is a fairly new addition to the zoning law within the last 10 or 15 years. And the problem being, it's a case of farm animals in tight residential districts. And I think the way that law was written, if you've looked at the law, it basically said if you want poultry on a property under 1/2 of an acre, you need a special exception. And really not a variance, because it's the language is very specific about it. The problem is meeting the criteria that you need to for a special exception, because the proximity of other properties, I think, is the real consideration in here that we are dealing with. And I know that it's asking for forgiveness is sometimes easier than asking for permission, but I'm very troubled by it. If these were larger properties, if these are outside the village district, I think it would be a different set of circumstances. But you know, I'm troubled by the fact that you've got multiple farm animals on a property that's about what, 0.29, I looked it up, 0.29 acres, very tiny property. So it's my observation.
Is this still part of the public hearing? Is the public hearing still open?
Public hearing is still open, and once again, if the board would, if there's any further comments or anything that anyone would like to offer from the audience, please come up again, sir.
I believe the person that did make a complaint has been making complaints to the police department about me parking in front of my house. She's called my landlord several times, trying to get me evicted for making up stories. She's constantly making up stories. And I have surveillance cameras out there, and there's no evidence of rats or raccoons or any other animals coming around.
Unfortunately, Mr. We're not here as far as intra-neighbor disputes. The kind of dispute that you're talking about, it's something that is way outside the purview of a zoning board.
It's one of the reasons, it's an ongoing thing for years that she keeps trying to do things to me. And there is other people that do have animals, chickens, and around the area.
Unfortunately, that doesn't excuse this
I just
case.
wanted to point that out.
I was thinking about reading the section that pertains to this, but I don't know if that's
Okay,
necessarily.
if you wanted to save that, Kristen, for
Yeah,
deliberation.
Yeah,
And I think we'll wait
That's why I
and
was
see if
asking.
there's nothing else coming forward from the audience, I'm going to close the public hearing and the board will move into deliberations on it. Going once, going twice, okay, the public hearing is now closed and let's talk about it.
yeah, the section that you were talking about was section 5.4.2.5.3. It's on page 30. And it describes the regulations, not for RSBO 1 because it's not allowed by some special exception there, but for the other districts that are allowed. It goes into no geese and roosters, a maximum of 10 poultry, which they have under, but then the next two, they shall be kept in a coop with a fenced-in area on the lot, which shall be located at a minimum of 50 feet from any property line unless otherwise approved by special exemption, and no poultry shall be kept on lots smaller than a half acre in size except by special exemption. So there's also kind of two additional areas that
Size and
would
location.
normally require a special exemption. Section 5.4.2.5.3.3 and section 5.4.2.5.4.
And those,
So many numbers.
and those are precisely my sticking points on this, is that,
And you have
It's
the
a-
coop. Oh, go ahead.
go ahead, John.
The coop is right up against the property.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
Right there, and which you set a precedent if you let.
And as I say, at bottom line, when the ordinance, the language is very specific about special exception for anything under half an acre.
Right, and I know that there are a lot of chickens in the neighborhood. I've walked the neighborhood many times. Is it a matter of nobody has permission, nobody's come here and asked for permission, or has there been a precedent of granting permissions? Because all of them are small lots. So I was just curious.
I would say it's the first case that you
Yeah.
cited, basically, until there's a complaint, people just try to fly under the radar. In this case, there's been a complaint. It's what it seems, it's brought the applicants here tonight, and that's what we need to decide on.
I had to wrestle with this one. This is a tough one. Question is, the restriction in this was written in the zoning ordinance. Do you have a date for that versus when they started?
2008,
2008.
yes,
For the poultry aspect of it?
yes.
So before that was written, it would have been allowed because it
No,
wasn't addressed?
by special exception.
Oh, okay. They still would have needed special exception
Right.
earlier. Okay.
And then it changed in 2012 to
It's prohibited.
Them
prohibit.
being prohibited,
Correct.
gotcha, okay. That's where you run into that box of, there's a couple zones that they're not permitted,
Yep.
even by special exception. This is one of those zones. And then if it was allowed by special exception, their layout doesn't satisfy it, I think, for acreage. And then the setback, they want 50 feet from the property line, that's,
Yeah.
it's not gonna
Not that
happen, right. And then you can see why, because they're small lots.
Yeah.
You do need some separation, I mean,
Is part of what you're saying that we can't make an argument for grandfathering it because even before 2008, it required special exception? which we
right,
didn't have.
right, yeah. See, if they didn't have that requirement, if it was like, hey, this is an existing non-conforming, they write the ordinance, says, oh, you can't have them anymore, then they get grandfathered, but it's not
Right.
the case here, right? And so I just looked down our criteria that we have to go by, the 5 criteria. And the first 2 I don't see getting met. This variance, to make the argument for them, they would say it's not contrary to the public interest. Well, it is, because the public interest is saying they're not allowing this zone. And secondly, the spirit of the ordinance would be observed with the variance. Definitely not, because you're allowing something that's not permitted. So I can't support, unfortunately, because of the zoning ordinance.
And I'm sort of challenged with the hardship part, because the hardship criteria requires that owing to a special condition of the property that distinguishes it from other properties, property cannot be reasonably used in strict conformance with the ordinance, and we don't have anything tied to the property that relates to hardship. It's not a property hardship.
It's a
That's-
use, correct.
That's
It's no use,
it, it's,
correct, right.
it has to be a property-connected hardship, and a personal hardship
We don't have that
does not
authority.
qualify.
We don't really have, I mean, we have to follow these rules, and I don't see how we get there. We looked at it from different angles of trying to figure out if we could grandfather it or something,
Correct,
but
yeah.
we just,
Yeah, it comes back to it's still prohibited in the zone. I mean, it's,
Yeah, I tried to look back at the definition of the RSBO 1 zone and what it's here for is preserving the architecture and everything like that, but it's not a farmhouse that we're trying to preserve as a farmhouse.
And unfortunately, even if the neighbors don't object, it's still in violation of the ordinance.
right.
That's, another, the nub there is, we can't grant it on the basis of simply lack of objection.
Right, if it was close, then maybe we'd have a harder time, like if it was, like my lot is 0.49 acres in the RSBO 1, like if it was off by a little bit, but we're not
Yeah.
off by a little bit here, so.
More
it's-
than 2/10 of an acre or thereabouts, more than a little bit. Davis, I see you ruminating there.
Well, I think that also, it might be worth pointing out, also, even if we were to get to a point where we thought it was allowed, they have more chickens than even the agricultural, by what was pointed out, maximum of 10 poultry shall be permitted, it's in 5.4.2.5.32. And it says that they have 15, so they're on this, so that's even still, even if.
They need
He
a
said
variance
less.
from that section to
Exactly,
permit
so.
15, right.
Excuse me, did you say we had 15 chickens?
That's what the documents say here.
We have 7 chickens.
He said 7, but
The documents we were provided said 15 chickens.
We have less than 10. 33 Church Street.
Under the staff review on the attachment, page 3 of the packet that was sent to us with all of the applications for the night, under staff review, point 1, it said 15.
That was given by the complainant.
Okay.
okay.
it still doesn't get us there, though.
And even if, this is something else I've read, even if we were to try and come to something where allowing the existing number and letting them die off, chickens can live, I believe, in captivity 8 to 10 years or more. So, you'd be perpetuating the same problem to, allow some sort of a clause to retain the existing flock, which I don't see that as a solution either.
How can you maintain a violation but not create it as a variance? Because that runs with the
Yeah,
land.
exactly,
That's tough.
exactly, and that's the thing that we need to remember here, that whatever we decide, we're creating a condition that will travel with the land in perpetuity, so.
And that's why I say that's really is contrary to the public interest of the zoning ordinance to do that. It's not a permitted use.
Yeah, I have a hard time with, more in terms of the spirit of the ordinance, that the ordinance's spirit doesn't support a coop right on the property line on a small lot. And I like chickens. I just,
Yeah,
I
I think it's great.
I have a
I think
hard
it's great.
time, but I'm looking
I
at
don't-
it.
I
and-
don't know. That's why I wrestle with it. It's like, boy, it'd be nice if they could.
Well, and I understand people's attachment to, chickens can be pets as well, but still multiple animals on, if it were 7 dogs, you might have the same issue with 7
Yeah.
dogs on the same lot.
Which aren't regulated.
Yeah, but you'd still have an issue with
Right.
it.
You can't,
Well, going around, John, any deep thoughts?
I'm just, special exception is blown out of the water because of the lot size, correct?
Yeah.
And this is really a special exception situation versus variance?
Could be if it was a permitted use in the zone.
Right, so that,
See, that's a catch
But
22.
but even then, if you look at the way we do special exceptions, the last 2 criteria on special exception are enough size to properly
location.
operate the proposed use,
Sufficient size.
and enough size for sufficient
Appropriate
buffering for the
to the use of
proposed
adjacent
use.
property.
So right there, that's the same thing, even if you reach the special exception point, you can't possibly meet the special exception criteria.
And I think they kind of did a subset of a special exception in the criteria of saying that they want it located 50 feet. That almost like that, okay, if you satisfy in these 3 zones, you'll have less than half an acre, get a special exception, but you also have to have that less than 50 feet from property line. So they went into further detail the special exception and said, yeah, we'll get you a special exception if you're permitted in that zone, have the half acre, and 50 feet from a property line. So that's gonna exclude a lot of properties,
Yeah.
just by dimension.
But I think that when you go back to the history of the ordinance, that's exactly what was attempting to be done, was to
Most likely.
rule it out on smaller properties with those criteria. Bruce, Kristen, Charlie, any further thoughts? I'll entertain a motion if,
I would be willing to make a motion. I make a motion to deny, and I go through my criteria. I don't think it satisfies the first one, that it is contrary to the public interest. I don't think the spirit of the ordinance is observed by giving a variance in this particular zone. The values to having chickens, I don't think that's an issue, but it doesn't satisfy those 2, and it has to satisfy in the affirmative all 5 to get a variance. And I further don't think the criteria 5 of the hardship is, particularly in this case, they're looking more for a use versus a dimension, but I don't see it rises to the level of a hardship to grant. So I make a motion on that basis.
I'll second.
all right, moved by Bruce, seconded by John. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, let's move to a vote. All in favor? And who is the voting alternate on this?
it's the 2 of them.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
Okay,
Kristen and
you
I.
two. All in favor?
All in
Aye.
favor of denial? Aye.
For denial.
Yeah,
Yep,
I'm just
right.
making sure it's in favor of it.
Favor of the motion to
In
deny.
favor of the motion to deny. All opposed to the motion to deny? Motion passes. Sorry, Mr. Chiquette, you do not have the variance. You can talk to Jack in the morning about what your next steps need to be on it. Thank you very much for coming forward.
I get confused when it's like approval of negative.
Clear out
I
my
just wanna
stuff
make sure
here.
I'm doing everything.
Proving what? Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Should be easy.
Just one moment to get my stuff back together.
Welcome back.
It's like I've been on a trip across the, I mean,
No, a trip across the country, where have we heard that this year?
A couple of us members.
I guess it's my turn now, right? All right, the next item on the agenda, Lori Williams applicant and Laureate Revocable Trust and Lorraine Laureate owners are seeking a variance to allow for the keeping of poultry on the property, whereas raising and keeping of poultry is not permitted within the village commercial district per section 3.12, the table of accessory usage, sub A, sub 11 of the Goffstown zoning ordinance. The property is located at 16 Elm Street, map 34, lot 144, zoned village commercial. Anybody representing, come on up. Would you please let us know your name and address for the record?
Hi, my name's, oh, pardon my voice. My name's Lori Williams, and I'm at 16 Elm Street.
I'm Lorraine Laureate. I'm the property owner.
Wonderful. Is there anything that you would like to add or?
I would, and before I add about my ladies, I would like to just bring it to the attention that I just feel that this was very unprofessional. This is how I was notified. I had a business card from Mr. Jack Shepherd, and on the back, this was stuck in my USPS mailbox. I was home. My car was in the yard. And it says, this is, I quote, "Chickens are not allowed in the village district. Please remove ASAP. This could be a $275 fine." And he signed it and dated it 9/17/2025. This is how I was notified from the town of Goffstown. I have had these birds for 9 years. My grandkids have raised them. They have names. They are part of our family. And this is how I was notified. I don't get a letter in the mail. I don't even get a knock on my door to tell me that I need to get rid of family members. I mean, I realize you guys are all looking at this as poultry. I get that, because they are chickens. I also have very small breed chickens. I have Polish. I do not have any large breed because I am in a small lot. They are in a small coop. They are enclosed in a fenced-in yard within a fenced-in yard. So I would like that to be brought to the attention first, that I feel that this was very unprofessional and very upsetting to me and my family. Okay, and now we can go on. I wanted that to be brought up.
That's okay.
Okay, I think I deserved a knock on my door.
Yes, I did knock on the door.
No, you did not, sir. I was home.
Wait,
Hold on, we're not gonna, we don't wanna have arguments or face to face. If you can address stuff to me, I'll.
And she came into the office and I explained to her that the fine could be $275 by RSA 356. And, 326. So, and I showed her a copy of it. And then I followed that up with a letter for this date.
Okay.
But why did I not get a letter from the town stating this? I got this, you put it in a mailbox, a USPS mailbox,
Yeah.
which as far as I know is illegal.
Jesse, is there a certified letter that goes out?
Yes.
After the fact,
Yes.
this was well after the
Yes.
fact that I got the certified letter.
Oh, okay.
This was how I was notified.
That was a courtesy for her to get in touch with me.
So, bring up about Mark Chessie.
So, when I moved into the house at 16 Elm Street, this is my mother, she owns the house, it was my grandparents' house.
Okay.
When we did all of our remodeling in the house, Mark Tessier was the building inspector at the time. He was over 1,000 many times for the different aspects of construction. At the time, my husband was building me my chicken coop because according to Mark Tessier, I was allowed 3 hens and no roosters. Or 6 hens, no roosters, I'm sorry. And that's what I had. I had 6. They will be 9 years old in the spring. I am down to 4 chickens that are gonna be 9 years old. So they are ending their life. They do not lay eggs anymore. They don't make any noise. I mean, they are small breed birds. I don't have any big giant ones. So, I mean, we've had these birds since they were 3 days old. They no longer lay. They don't, they're kept as pets. I realize you consider them poultry, but they are pets. They're like having a cat. They're like having a dog. I open my door, they come in my house. So, I guess what I'm looking at is that if you look at the zoning maps where I sit at 16 Elm Street, and you were to actually look, and down the road, there's Reed Street and there's Maple Ave. Now, Reed Street is 3 doors down from me. That's where it switches from residential commercial to residential. So technically, if I live 3 doors down, I could have 10 pens. So I guess what I'm asking for is to let these poor girls just live out their life. I can't give them away. They'd be killed. They can't go to another flock. They're too old. No one wants an old bird. What do? They do nothing. They don't even produce eggs. They cost me money to keep, but they are my pets. They're like having a dog. They're like having a cat. They're like having a hamster. I mean, they're a pet. So I guess my other thing is when you talk about rats and you talk about vermin and you talk about all of that, I would like to also bring up the fact that there's 2 commercial dumpsters within like 300 yards of us or 300 feet of us on both directions. The trash bins, all up in the town common, all along me, are always overflowing with trash. I am not, their food is kept inside my house. Their food is picked up, brought out in the morning, picked up at dusk when they go to bed. No food is ever left outside. Have I had vermin? Oh, absolutely. I have set traps, I have done poison, I have taken care of my responsibility, but they keep coming back. And do you know when we started having an issue? Was when the town of Goffstown dug up Elm Street last summer and dug up the sewer line and the water line and disturbed everything from Main Street to Maple Ave. And that's when we got them. So I don't feel that my birds are the reason for them. I feel like my birds aren't the problem. Like, there's trash in the park on the ground. I pick up my food for my birds. So, I mean, I don't know what else to say to keep them. Like,
The violation notice that we got, that was dated September 30th, said that there's rats that have been reported around Maple Ave School, and it says that it's the same neighborhood that we're in. I mean, Temple Court is quite a distance from Maple Ave School. I don't think these chickens on Temple Court can be blamed. We're not even in the same district as...
that would be like saying I'm close to Town Hall.
I mean, we're not even in the same district to blame something at Maple Ave School on Temple Court.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the grandkids would be heartbroken if they had to get rid of these chickens.
I mean, the
they're
little boy in
pets.
the picture, he was 2 there. He's
They're-
now in Mountain View Middle School.
They're pets.
So, I mean,
You can't just give these pets away.
well, no one will take them. And I did try. When I got the notice, I thought, oh, that'd be easier than paying the fine and going through all of this. I did try. No one will take them. People have offered to slaughter them. And I'm sorry, my birds have names. Like, they're our family pet. So,
They-
I mean, I would just really like them to live out. I mean, will they make it through this winter? I don't know. They're gonna be 9. I had 6 to start with. I've lost 2 over the last couple of winters because they've gotten older. So, I mean, am I going through all of this? I could have 4 dead chickens over the course of the winter, who knows? But I'd really like them to just live out the rest of their natural life and not send them somewhere to be killed.
They're not hurting anybody back there.
I mean, my mother's my neighbor, my daughter's my neighbor. Like, I
They don't hurt anybody
We
back
kind
there.
of all keep to ourselves right there, and I don't think that we're hurting anything. And I don't think that my birds should be blamed for vermin in the area.
I don't think the building inspector even went in the back of the house and looked at the coop.
Yeah, did you go out back?
I don't have permission now.
You can't go down the public road?
I did go down there, I took a look at it.
Oh, I never saw you. You never knocked on my door? And by the way, I do have a Ring camera, and I did see you just slip it in the mailbox, so. I mean, that's all I got to
Please
say.
consider just letting them live out their life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll ask you to step back for just a minute. Is there anybody who wishes to speak on this? Actually, don't go far.
Oh.
Doesn't look like there's anybody who wants to speak, so
I'll spend in the butter.
Oh, okay. We'll listen to you. Come up, please.
My name is Marilyn Nolan. I live at 11 Elm Street. And I don't have a lot to say. I didn't know I would even have the opportunity to speak, but I just wanted to support them. I've enjoyed walking by down Temple Court and enjoying the chickens, and my grandchildren as well have. I mean, they don't live with me, but we would go over and see them. So, and they have never bothered me. They've never made a lot of noise or anything. I've never had any rats or anything in my yard that I'm aware of. I also had chickens on Spring Street. Those folks have since moved, but those chickens didn't, I just haven't had a problem with having poultry in the area, and have actually enjoyed them.
Thank you. Okay. I'll invite you back up, ma'am, if you want to come back up.
Did you want
Board
to say?
members, do you have any, is there anyone else that wants to speak?
Well, I'm in butter as well.
Okay, would you like to come up and say something? You don't have to, but you're welcome to. I just ask you to let us know what your name is and your
Yep.
address, please.
Nancy Connor, 5 Temple Court. I've lived there for 23 years and never had any issues with the chickens. The only issue I have is the rats. And I have pictures of the rats coming out of the yard and coming by the fence next door to them. And I also have seen them back and forth between one yard to the other. The previous owner of the newer house at the end of the road said that they had seen the rats as well. I have 6 grandkids, and I won't take them down that way. I don't want anybody bitten by a rat. I don't want any diseases from the rats. That is my main concern, is my grandkids. And I just, never said anything up until this point because I didn't have a problem with the chickens. I only have the problem when I saw the rats. And if anybody wants to see the pictures, I have them on my phone.
Anyone care to?
I'm good.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Are there any more questions from the board? I actually do have one question. Could you come back up for a moment, please? Where do you actually store the chicken's food?
In my house.
Inside the house?
Inside the house.
Okay.
I have a 3-season porch that's all glassed in, inside my house.
Okay.
The food stays inside. I have 250, bags in the house.
Thank you. Any other questions?
May I interrupt?
Go ahead, Bruce.
You mentioned Mark Tessier, the prior building inspector.
Yes, he was the one that was doing all my inspections
Right.
when we did the remodel and everything.
What was the date, timeframe? A year approximately?
Well, my husband built the coop in what, 2000? The chickens will be 9 years old this spring.
Oh.
We looked back, so.
Yeah, he didn't by chance give you any letter or anything saying?
No, it was talking in the backyard. He was a really nice guy. Like, he commented because my house was built in 1889 and we were updating it, but keeping, you know, a lot of the old characters of the old house, basically. And then when we sided the barn, we sided the chicken coop to match the barn, and, you know, it's all insulated inside it and hardware cloth.
And the run is totally,
They're totally enclosed inside a fenced-in yard. And like I said, as far as the vermin, I have set traps, I have done poison, I have done it. I never had a rodent problem until last fall, after the highway department dug up Elm Street. Whether that's the reason or not, I don't know. But it just seemed odd that that's
I mean,
when they
there's a
arrived.
dumpster at the laundromat.
All the
right up the
overflowing
parking lot.
trash cans in the park, I mean, overflowing trash cans in the park. Which is way closer than Maple Ave that they
Who's
were
to
about.
say it's from these chickens?
I mean, I'm not saying that they don't come in and get into the chicken food, like when they're fed, but their food goes out in the morning when they get up, their food comes in at night when you know, they go to bed at dusk. They're only up dawn to dusk. That's the only time the food is
You
available
can't
out
give
there.
these pets away any more than you could give away your dog or cat. You can't give pets away.
So now here's my second question. What if I brought my chickens in the house? What if they didn't live outside in the coop? What if I turned my 3-season house inside my home? Could they live in my home?
I don't know the answer to that.
No, I am
I would ask Jack.
100%
I think
serious.
I think logically that
My
I've run
chickens,
into this.
no,
Chickens are pets.
I'm just
but
saying.
chickens are classified as
Poultry.
as
yes, I
poultry,
realize,
which
but
is
my
commercial.
chickens wear little cat harnesses, and you can walk them around town like a dog. So, could they live in the home and not out in their pen?
Jack, I'd have to ask.
The ordinance doesn't allow it. Doesn't say-
How does an
does-
ordinance tell me what I can own inside my home?
Well,
That's the use.
It's
to explain that correctly.
I mean, it's an
No,
honest
no,
question.
I totally comprehend what you're saying. But as far as there's no chickens, poultry allowed in the village district. Doesn't matter if
Right.
they're inside or outside.
I understand what you're asking.
So I couldn't go and get like a little pygmy goat and have it live in the house like a dog.
It's considered livestock.
I mean, it's kind of the same thing, you
It's
know?
considered livestock.
Right.
You can't have livestock in the
Yeah,
village
it's
district.
it's a definition problem.
No, I mean, seriously, I would do that. I would turn my 3-season porch into their home. And they just would never be outside again.
Yeah,
No, I mean, I'm really that serious. These are my girls.
I understand.
It's
I-
Henrietta and Olivia and Myrtle and Gertrude. We call them Mert and Gert. They're little Polish. They all have names. I'm serious. I'm
know,
serious.
I'm not
I am begging
I
to
think
let
it's
them
cute.
just live out their natural life.
Yes.
They're going on 9 years old.
So I will ask this, is there any more questions of the board on this specific?
Other than I'm a crazy chicken
No,
lady.
no, not at all.
I mean,
I've
I'll
gotta
admit
go
it.
by this, right? So, is there any other questions from the board on this for the?
Well, are we ready to close the public
I will be
hearing
ready
and
to close it.
deliberate?
Yes. Okay,
I'll save what I have for
okay.
deliberation.
Then I'm going to close the public hearing. Thank you. You
Okay.
can step back.
All right.
And we will now deliberate. Len?
It's a tough one. It's a real balancing act, and I can recognize the applicant's emotional attachment to her birds as pets. But once again, we're bumping up against the ordinance that we are charged with enforcing, as you pointed out before, and I think Jack hit on it, it's a definitional problem. Poultry is poultry. It's specific, the ordinance is specific about poultry and livestock not being allowed in the village district. Also, the other things that I think we need to consider too is also the situation, and I've looked at the lot there. This lot is one of the tiniest lots I have ever seen in this town. It's less than 1/10 of an acre, and there's less than 20 feet of separation in between the buildings there. Problem is, if we grant a variance, you're creating a right that goes forward in perpetuity
So I
with
will-
the property.
I'll jump in on that one though. We can put some limits on it. So we could have the limit be the lifespan of the existing birds.
Yes.
And the variance could go
And the
away.
variance would expire.
That's something that might be a good solution. I think that,
But
given the degree of attachment that the applicant is owing to them, if that's set as a condition that the variance exists only until the last bird of the existing flock passes, then something I think that would satisfy me. I'm just loath to create a permanent right attaching to that
Yeah.
property.
And that was my thought process as well. This, somebody had said in the last thing that we were talking about, when you start running into pets or whatever, I'm like, well, this is where we're going. So I'm sitting back there saying, that, okay, this is where we're headed. So I was thinking that in this particular case where they're being used solely as pets and not as laying hens or any of that kind of thing, it does create a very strange hardship that I think satisfies a hardship. We still have to contend with all the other pieces of this, but I think that we could probably, I was looking back there, I think that the rats are because of the trash in the dumpsters. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that I heard them in there.
Yeah,
when
I
was
agree.
walking
I
by.
don't see rats as being the central issue
Yeah.
of this whole thing. I mean, they're not great, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a problem, and maybe the town needs to look at that. But
In this particular case too, the attempt was made, I don't know on purpose, but there's actually a coop there that is fenced and it is designated specifically for the chickens to begin. It matches the home, which is a farmed type home.
But it's up against the property line, which is not allowed.
Excuse me.
That's
Yeah,
criteria.
When you say the property line, my mother owns both houses.
I can't take a public comment right now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No worries.
I thought you were.
Well, we can interject for her.
Yes, we can interject for
So
her
the
though.
property does abut another parcel that is owned by the same person.
Right.
But we can't look at that because they are two separate parcels. And we have to put the box on the larger parcel with the chickens or the poultry, and the other one just happens to be a suburban parcel. But somebody could buy that later on, and they've got that chicken coop right against the property line that's common. That doesn't pass any separation distance requirement if it was to be allowed. You know, and another thing, I wrestle with this one as well. It's a tough,
I just want to look at something here.
how do you get past the public interest? And
the public interest, my opinion, is that's what created the zoning ordinance, is based on the public interest of maintaining parcels that aren't overcrowded, have uses that are compatible, you know, type of, what would be the public interest? Would it be a public interest to grant a variance here?
Well, I think, again, if this was, I'll say, 5 years ago when there was probably more than 4 chickens there,
It's only ever been
This-
six.
yeah, so there would have been more than 4. Would that have been a problem back then when they're laying, they're,
Yep.
being, chickens? doing chicken
They're doing
things.
poultry then versus pets now.
Right, now it's
Right,
pets.
right, right.
And I think that, again, in this particular case, we could probably specify again, the age of the chickens. And according to this, Polish chickens have a average lifespan of 5 to 8 years. So if they're 9, I don't expect
Wow.
that this is probably going to continue that much more. So if we grant them a variance, we could make it, we could put a condition that it's with the existing flock. We could also put a condition that the person that owns the other property that this abuts to is in agreement with this.
Which happens to be the same owner.
Happens to be the same owner, so I
That's
don't
coincidence,
see that
right.
this is going to be a problem there. I think that that would probably be, a fair compromise. I mean, it's, one of the things I think that this board is supposed to be doing is being, the quasi judicial thing that is to try to make a barrier between laws being broken versus, normal people using their stuff, right? We want to protect the
Yeah,
citizens
I
as
know,
much
it's
as we
that
want to
balancing
protect.
act of the zoning ordinance is restricting their rights, versus the public versus the private. But again, I go back to Charlie's comment about the public interest. And I'm reading off this explanation list there. First criteria, it's that the proposed use must not conflict with the explicit or implicit purpose of the ordinance. In this case, no poultry. It must not alter the essential character of the neighborhood, threaten public health, safety, welfare, otherwise injure public rights. The
But I
only public
think-
health that we've heard or safety is the rats, but I think that's not really,
Yeah.
by these, I think it is something else.
I think the explicit thing there, but the implied piece is the poultry side, not the pet side.
Right.
And that's the part where I think that that would be our out for that.
Okay.
But if they had like a little pig in the house and they said it's our pet.
Well, that would be a separate case, and
It
that's
is
not
a
what we're
separate-
dealing with.
It is a separate case, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to make sure that like, could
Similar.
someone come in here
There's-
tomorrow with a pig in
With
the
the
district?
Vietnamese pig, right?
So one of the things that Elise has always said when I started as an alternate here is that each case that we listen to is in its own thing.
Okay, so we're not gonna set like a precedent for
There's no
now.
such thing as precedent
Everybody's
when
going
it
to
comes
come.
to that.
Okay, that's
No.
what I was concerned
I
about.
agree with you. It's every case is
So.
unique to its own.
And we can use our own knowledge of the area and stuff in our decision-making process.
Okay. I just didn't wanna set a precedent for everybody can ask for forgiveness later by having livestock.
Well, everybody else who comes in is gonna say, oh, my chickens are my pets.
And they're 8 years old.
Right.
Well, I think one of the special conditions of this applicant, from what we've heard, is allegedly a previous zoning and building enforcer for the town did not enforce at the time what was a restriction. That's the allegation here, which,
He wasn't the code enforcer. Nancy was the code
Nancy was the
enforcer. He
code
was just a
enforcer.
building inspector.
oh, okay, understood.
There was a good angle data.
He was, yeah, Mark was strictly the building
Building
inspector,
inspector,
correct?
Okay.
correct.
Yes.
Okay.
But if he had seen something as a town employee, would he have been, if you see something as a town employee, right,
I would
you're,
let another department know.
right, so if that did not happen, which, do you have documentation that did or did not happen?
All I have is the building permit, what they were doing.
So we don't have any information one way or the other.
No, that is true, but, I just thought
Yeah.
that was something that was brought up.
Yeah, I think that was good. I think if we want to go with special conditions of the property, I mean, I think that being a house that is from the 1800s, and it looking like a farmhouse barn, is at one point in time, it probably did support poultry and that kind of thing. That might be a stretch, but that was one of the things I was thinking about was, oh, this was a farmhouse. So, I've thrown a couple of things out there. We,
You muddied the waters.
yes, I understand that. Do we have anyone who wants to make a motion? Chickens. Sorry. Dad jokes.
You know,
Oh.
let me take a whack at something here and see if anybody will support it.
My notes.
And I believe, I was just looking in the law here, there's a provision of the law that allows a variance without a finding of a hardship, but it requires a recognized physical disability.
Right.
674-33 subsection B verse. But it requires a physical disability to do, but in terms of maybe being somewhat empathetic to the applicant's plight here, I'd propose that we grant a variance for the existing 4 chickens only insofar as the lifespan of the current flock. Chickens will not be replaced when they die and when the last bird of the current crop passes, this variance goes away.
So like, these are service animals?
I think that's such a fraught area,
Well,
I'm not sure that you want to
You don't want to
get
say
into that.
service animal, you want to
Oh,
say
we're
a
really
mo-
stretching it here, so I was just.
Well, so one thing that you would not want to say is service animal because that is an ADA term.
Yeah,
You want to use emotional support animal. Therapy animal. I read something that separates those, but
I
don't
was
think we need
trying to
go that
avoid
far.
all of that terminology. just to-
I will do one thing
avoid
that
that.
will make at least part of this easy, because I forgot at the beginning. Did anybody want to make a motion for regional impact?
Move no regional impact.
Len,
I'll second that.
second from Bruce. Charlie, this is your case. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No regional impact is approved. Okay, wonderful.
It's all local. This is local.
Yeah, this is definitely local. Okay,
we're
now,
local.
and the other thing that I wanted to point out was that Charlie is going to be the voting alternate for this one. All right, so now we're back
Getting
to,
back, you're making a motion, are you referencing 674:33?
I don't think we can make 674-33 apply.
It's a stretch.
There's not it's a stretch because there's not a physical disability, recognized physical disability involved. It was something that I thought that might be an out, but I don't think it fits this case.
We had one on Colin Palm Road where it was.
Yep, that's
That was
exactly.
a couple
that's
years ago,
exactly
yep,
what I was
okay.
thinking.
Yes.
That's
and
where I didn't
that's
know
where
what
it
that
applied.
number was from.
Yeah, I've seen it more with physical dimensions.
Yes.
Need a ramp in the setback or something, whatever, but
so,
So the motion is out there, but nobody seconded it.
I will
so-
second it.
all right, motion from Len. And I'm not quite sure exactly what the motion was. Could you repeat that just so
The
that?
motion was to grant a variance to allow the keeping of the existing 4 chickens on the property. That the variance persists only as far as the lifespan of the current flock, that once the last bird of the current flock dies,
No
the
later
variance
than,
goes away.
no later than, you gotta put a date in there.
4 years,
'Cause
5
then
years.
it's just
Yeah.
in, yeah.
All right,
How long's that?
let's say-
2030, 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
it's in 2030,
All right,
it's fine.
that's a good idea, Charlie. Yeah, let's say,
You never know.
Are you amenable to that change of the
Yes.
date?
Yes.
okay, so,
So we have a motion from Len, a second from John. Any discussion?
well, okay, just let me make sure we're lying. And that the motion the variance will persist until
The 4
November of 2030 or the death of the last bird in the current flock, whichever comes first.
Whatever comes first.
And to satisfy Bruce's conversation before, did we want to add a piece about with permission of the abutting neighbor? Or do we not want to go that far?
I don't think I'd go that
No,
far.
yeah, that's
Okay,
true.
so we have the motion, we have a second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. We have 4-1, motion carries. Okay. Okay, the next one, so Kristen, you'll be the voting member for this next one.
All right.
James Smith of Allen and Major Associates, Inc., applicant, and Benjamin and Elise West, owners, are seeking a variance to allow for a lot line adjustment with the abutting lot. The variance from section 4.3 is required because map 8, lot 46-16-5 at 99 Meadowlark Lane will have 181.47 feet of frontage after the lot line adjustment, whereas 200 feet is required as per section 4.3, the table of dimensional regulations of the Goffstown zoning ordinance. The abutting lot, map 8, lot 46-16-4 at 93 Meadowlark Lane, owned by Chelsea Lavelli, is a conforming lot and will remain conforming after the lot line adjustment. Note that lot 46-16-5 currently has 173.47 feet of frontage, was created in 1987, and met the 1987 zoning ordinance requirements at that time. Even though the frontage for lot 46-16-5 will be increased from 173.47 feet to 181.47 feet, it will still not meet the minimum of 200 feet of lot frontage under the current 2025 zoning ordinance, thus requiring the requested variance. Both of these properties are zoned agricultural. Oh, hello.
Hello,
How are you?
good, how are you?
Could you please let us know who you are?
My
Where are you
name's
from?
Jerry Grondin with Allen Major Associates, representing Benjamin and Elise West, the owners of,
Oh, hold on one second, sir. Thank you very much, Bruce.
This is a motion that there's no regional impact.
Motion of no regional
Second.
impact from Bruce, second from the voice from beyond. Is that Kristen? Is that you?
Sure.
Oh, motion from Chris, second from Kristen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'm sorry, sir. Go ahead.
so I'm representing Benjamin and Elise West, the owners of map 8, lot 46-16-5 at 99 Meadowlark Lane. So the existing frontage of the property is, I think it is 173.47 feet along Meadowlark Lane. And we are requesting a lot line adjustment to increase that nonconformity from 173.47 to 181.47. It should be known that this lot was in conformance back in 1987 under the zoning back then. Regulations have changed since then. So we're seeking the variance from section 4.3, the dimensional regulations for lot frontage. We're making this lot more conforming than it is to date. Not taking the abutting lot out of conformance. Our client is purchasing this piece of land from the abutting property. This lot will be in conformance still, and this lot will be in more conformance than in present. For the record, I'm just gonna read some of the criteria. So, as I briefly stated, the existing frontage predates current zoning requirement of 200 feet. The lot line adjustment will make the frontage more conforming from 173.47 to 181.47 feet. The criteria, conditions, and supplemental standards in the zoning ordinance will be applicable to the requested variance because the proposed lot line adjustment will give the dwelling side setback 36.4 feet when the current side setback is 2.8 feet. So that will make it more conforming and actually conform to the dimensional regulations to date. So the 5 criteria, granting the variance would not be contrary to the public interest because the use would not be contrary because it would make a lot more conforming to the zoning. The spirit of the ordinance is observed because the spirit of the ordinance is observed because it increases the frontage from 173.47 feet to 181.47. Granting the variance would do substantial justice because it would make for a previous non-conforming lot more conforming to the bylaws to date. and create the conformance for the side setback that does not conform to date. The values of surrounding properties will not be diminished because the allowing of this variance would not diminish the surrounding properties in any way. It's only the lot's dimensional change we're discussing. So owing to special conditions for the property that distinguish it from other properties in the area, denial of the variance would result in unnecessary hardship because no fair substantial relationship exists between the general public purposes of the ordinance provision and the specific application of the provision to the property because the lot's pre-existing non-conforming to a regulation change to the Goffstown town zoning requirements. And the proposed use is a reasonable one because the use is staying the same. It's a residential use within a residential subdivision and will continue to be a residential use. That's all I have.
All right.
I'm not quite comfortable with our zoning ordinance. God bless you, trying to interpret them. I've always felt that an existing lot of record back in whatever, 87, kind of, is good. So it had the frontage back in 87. Today's standard's 200 feet frontage. They're a lot of record. I don't think they need to get a variance. If anything, it would be the special exception. Under that provision of the grandfathering thing, personally, I don't think they should have to ask for a variance. I think they go for that special exception 14.7. The use of a non-conforming lot, I guess we would say that that's what this is, except as may otherwise be allowed in accordance with section 14.5, the grandfather clause. A non-conforming lot may, as a special exception, be developed for any use permitted. It's already been developed. I don't know why they'd still have to be here. Subject to the following conditions, that it's on a town road, that the non-conforming lot conforms to front, side, and rear setbacks. They're making that, that's what they're doing. That's the purpose of the lot line adjustment. Accessory building doesn't apply here. So I'm not sure why they really need to get a variance. If anything, I think it would be the special exception portion in this 14.7 non-conforming lots. And I don't know why Goffstown muddies it up and saying, hey, you have a non-conforming lot, you want to build on it, come in and ask for a special exception.
We're not building anything.
I'm aware of that.
Yeah, we're just.
It's a lot line
trying to move
adjustment.
the property line and, I mean.
And make that existing non-conforming side yard better.
Exactly,
and
exactly.
conform.
And I mean, this lot was approved back in 87, which, again, down the chain, over the years, I mean, the zoning's changed. But, I mean, still, essentially, in order to do this, we have to obtain a variance from the zoning dimensional regulations, which, I mean, that is the point where we're making this lot more conforming than to date, and we necessarily wouldn't need to be achieving this variance unless we were making this change. And we're making it better. So essentially, we're.
Well, by far, you're making it better. You're reducing the non-conformance by increasing the frontage, whatever, another 20 feet or
Exactly,
so.
but by proposing to change the lot line, we have to come in here for the variance.
For the variance also.
So, I guess my question, I figured that the answer was no, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. If you change the other lot though, right, the one that's currently conforming, doesn't it now become subject to today's standard? Because you've changed the lot?
It doesn't go out of compliance. I think that's in compliance with today's.
It is.
If I
It
recall,
is, yes.
looking at this.
Yes.
Okay.
So they were able to, at least that other lot wasn't right at all the minimums. So they had a little extra that they could grab to take for area to give this guy so he could get his property setback, his side yard setback.
Yeah, so the existing property line, it's not highlighted, but this is the existing property line here, and this is the red's the proposed. So I mean, we're just increasing the lot size of my client's lot and keeping the abutter's lot, who is in full agreement of this proposal, in conformance with the existing regulations as well.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's a higher bar to go with a variance, but that's, if the board feel that it really wasn't necessary to go variance and go for a special exception. But if they would do that, we'd have to rehear it, because we posted it as a variance.
Well, the variance is the more restrictive.
It's more restricted
So-
because you're breaking away from 4.3.
Right, so I don't think we would have to renotice if we, as the board, decided to grant a special exception. Because the variant, it was a variance request, but if we determine that it's really a special exception request, I think we've done that before, haven't we, Lynn?
In other words, turning it into a special exception.
Request?
Been request on the spot, not in my recollection.
And if the application was accepted as a zoning application,
For a variance, right.
Exactly. I mean, we'd like to achieve the variance if that's acceptable.
Okay. All right, noting that the bar for the variance is a bit higher.
Yeah.
So, okay. I'll open up to public. Okay. Board, I'll leave the public session open until we're ready to deliberate. Lynn, you good?
I'm good.
Bruce?
No, that's,
Kristen?
I'm all set.
All right, then I will close the public hearing, and I will entertain discussion and or motions.
I'm just going to go down the criteria of the variance. This request is not contrary to the public interest. I think that's satisfied. They made non-conformance better. Spirit of the ordinance is observed by coming here for a variance. Obviously, substantial justice is done. Value of surrounding properties, it's not diminished. The hardship really was they built it too close. They built the house too close to the property line, and they're trying to better it. So I think you could say there's some hardship that runs with the original layout. They eliminated that violation of a side setback issue. So I guess I would vote to make a motion to grant a variance that they do satisfy the 5 criteria that I can see.
Okay, motion from Bruce to approve.
I'll second.
Second from Kristen. All discussion?
I mean, I think it satisfies the criteria. It's a high bar, but you've met it. I mean, it's overkill.
Appreciate
My
it.
opinion.
Appreciate it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Okey-doke. All right, Davis, this one's yours. All right. Actually, the next two. Let me get my paperwork right this time.
Put in the right pile.
And I know who's coming up, so I need to have my paperwork like later.
On my paper too.
It's so much easier when you can just use this thing. I can't
But
wait
as
for.
soon as I close that, like a window or something like that, I'm lost.
Yeah, well, I'll have to, there's something down right now, so get it. All right, so Helga, William, Kenneth, and Richard Hoffman, owners, and Christopher Drasher Esquire, applicant, are seeking a special exception to allow for the development of a pre-existing lot that has 150 feet of frontage and does not meet the 200-foot frontage requirement for the agricultural zone. A special exception is required per section 14.7.3 of the Goffstown zoning ordinance. The property is located at 501 East Dunbarton Road, map 12, lot 22, zoned agricultural. We'll start with a motion for regional impact.
I make a motion that this application does not have regional impact.
Motion from Bruce, second by John, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Sir?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Greetings, my name is Chris Drescher. I represent the applicants in this matter. As you stated, the applicants are Helga Hoffman, Rick Hoffman, Bill Hoffman, and Ken Hoffman. With me today, I have Rick and Bill Hoffman in the house in case they need to address any questions to the honorable board. I know we got to take these one at a time, but if you need a visual, the tax map should suffice. And both these applications are relative to these two lots that are right across from each other. Sort of like the last folks, we thought we needed variances at first. We went and applied for those, and then we're told by your staff, no, this is what you need, special exception, so I was happy to hear that. But again, very simply, both of these lots, and they'll focus on the one at issue, which is 501 East Dunbarton. They're pre-existing non-conforming lots of record that have about 150 feet of frontage each, where 200 is required. Just a little bit of history. The applicable address for this particular application in front of you is 501 East Dunbarton Road in Goffstown. Applicable zone is agriculture. These two lots were once one lot at some point, sometime long ago. And then this road, East Dunbarton Road, came through and bisected them. So 501, for the record, is tax map 12, lot 22. Each of these properties are developed with residential structures, but not necessarily dwellings. I believe number 500 has the dwelling, and then 501 has some accessory buildings relative to the one across the street. So it's like the garage is across the street, and I think some others have a barn, small barn and a garage, basically. But each of these lots separately, including the ones in front of you, they're both about 2.5 acres each. The most recent deed site at the Hillsborough County Registry of Deeds is book, for the record, book 6307, page 1464, and it was dated October 26, 2000, and that is when Helga deeded these two properties from her to her and her 3 sons. A quick online search of the property, I could go back as far as 1940. Tracing it further than that would probably require me to go to the registry in person and look at some of those old ones that they got in the drawers. But all the deeds that date back to 1940 reference this road, East Dunbarton Road, that cuts through these two properties. So it's been a long time. The tax records for 500 East Dunbarton state that the house was built in 1800, but we're talking about 501 now, which has those accessory buildings. I'm not sure when those were built. Your tax records don't mention it one way or another. Essentially, what we're trying to do here today is legitimize these two lots as marketable. Helga has had to move into an assisted living facility. It's probably about the most I can say beyond, without bumping the HIPAA too much, and they need to sell these lots. They're worth a lot more as 2 separate lots, and they're otherwise totally compliant to be buildable lots, but for this deficient frontage that they're stuck with. And so that's essentially what we're here to do, is get you all to bless this so that that work is done now rather than by a prospective buyer down the road who would, then you sign a purchase and sale and it's like, well, I'm going to wait until I have to go before the zoning board to make sure I don't have an issue with frontage, et cetera, et cetera. So if we can do that now, it makes it easier on these folks. So jumping into that special exception criteria, again, as it was stated in that earlier case, it's 14.73. And the first sort of step on that one is the lot has to have frontage on an accepted street. Well, we have frontage, just deficient, but it is certainly on an accepted street, being East Dunbarton Road. The next one, under this special exception criteria, is the proposed use of the non-conforming lots conform to the front side rear yard requirements. I'll say that the structures that are on there now, again, over 100 years old, at least for the house. I'm not sure about the other ones. They are certainly pre-existing non-conforming. However, should a prospective buyer say, well, geez, I want to come down and demo that and build myself something newer, there's more than enough room on this lot to be buildable and comply with all of your otherwise setbacks and other requirements. And again, here, that only deficiency, again, is that frontage. The next step in that special exception criteria is accessory buildings not creating an additional dwelling unit and not part of the existable principal buildings on the lot. I don't think this is an issue. There's no ADUs on this lot. Again, there's the one house on one lot and then these buildings on the other side. And then I do have to cross-reference your normal special exception area according to your ordinance. And that brings me over to 15.3.2. And under that one, lots of numbers, I know somebody will make that joke earlier, 15.3.2.1.1. The specific site is an appropriate location for the use being consistent with the town's master plan. Property's been there for over 100 years, it's a residential use, residential use is allowed. The size or frequency of the use will not significantly alter the character of the neighborhood. Again, all we're doing is asking you to bless a current ongoing nonconformity. Otherwise, this deficient frontage has been there forever, and so have these lots. Nothing's changing, except the new owner may want to replace a new structure on site, which of course, if they did that, they have to conform with the ordinance. Areas of residential use, it'll remain that. And the two lots have always been residential. The use will not create a nuisance or a hazard to vehicles or pedestrians in a manner that cannot be ameliorated. Again, non-issue, it's a residential area, I don't think we're causing any issues with traffic. Proposed locations of sufficient size and adequate for appropriate facilities. Again, the lot at issue is 2.5 acres, plenty of space there. And finally, the proposed location is sufficient to allow for appropriate buffers to adjacent properties. Again, with the 2.5 acres, you'll have plenty of space. The buildings that are on there now, again, are non-conforming, and so if somebody were to do something different, they would obviously have to conform with your ordinance. And that is all I have for that first one. It's literally the same argument for the next one, so Mr. Chair, however you want me to do it.
Yeah, they gave it to me separately, so we'll do it separate,
Sure.
just to make sure everybody's
That's what I got to.
everybody's copacetic. Any questions from the board? Anybody in the back care to speak for or against? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Dave.
So what you're applying for special exception is to allow for development of the property, but not with specific plans for any development?
Right, we don't have anything yet.
Okay.
The idea is, it really comes down to marketability. If you all were to bless these lots and say, you're okay to build a new house that's otherwise zoning compliant, on this lot, you're okay with the deficient 150 feet of frontage that has, of course, been there pre-existing and non-conforming. It's a decent case for a variance too, but obviously the path of least resistance is always preferable. And so the idea is that if they get this permission on these lots, they can then turn around and market them, and a buyer's going to be much more interested in purchasing these lots if they know they don't have to go through these hoops again.
Can I ask a follow-up?
Go ahead.
Okay. So, as long as what would be built on the property for structures complied with the rest of the zoning ordinance, and the only deficiency there is the frontage that can't be changed,
Correct.
us allowing that allows that to be built. However, if someone were to be building something that is non-conforming with anything else, they'd have to come here again before
Correct.
that.
Correct. So for the lot that's in front of you, which is 500, only has accessory structures on it. So I think they would they'd probably have to visit building to even figure out if they could make those converted into something that's a dwelling. I don't think so, based on some of the pictures I saw. So I think the logical progression for at least 500 East Dunbarton is somebody's going to come along and probably demo those accessory buildings, and then probably want to build something new that would have to conform with your ordinance to the T, with the one exception, of course, being what we're here for today, which is the front.
So,
Thank you.
and I just want to make sure, so for 501, which is the one we're doing first.
No, 500's. Oh,
No,
sorry,
501.
501, I'm sorry.
501.
My apologies.
Yeah.
That's got the garage and the
That's
two attached.
There is nobody living in those? Okay,
No.
all right, I just wanted to make sure, thank you.
I guess in theory, somebody, because it's got a footprint, right, that's pre-existing non-conforming, in theory, somebody could come along and say, well, I'm gonna, renovate it to this nice thing, but it would have to stay within those.
That's footprint. Okay. Anything else? All right, now, is anybody, sir, are you all set? You guys,
They're the owners.
all right, cool.
I would assume they support it, so.
Well, I would, well, just making sure.
We're on board.
All right, then, anything else, sir? I'll close the public hearing. thy pleasure, board.
Well, this is, as I say, the Goffstown ordinance has that weird thing of blessing an existing non-conforming lot of record. I think he satisfies all the criteria, on the special exceptions as well. I think it's really, to me, a no-brainer.
Yep.
As written.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Second.
So I would make a motion that we approve it as.
Motion to approve from Bruce, second from Len. All in favor? I'm sorry, discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Right, you have the first one.
I'll do it. I got the one down.
Yep, now we'll do,
On a roll.
now we'll do 500.
Well, now we're on the other side of the road.
Now we're on the
Yeah,
other side.
now. Alright, so, for our next hearing, Helga, William, Kenneth, and Richard Hoffman, owners, and Christopher Drescher Esquire, applicant, are seeking a special exception to allow for the development of a pre-existing lot that has 150 feet of frontage and does not meet the 200-foot frontage requirement for the agricultural zone. The special exception is required per section 14.7.3 of the Goffstown zoning ordinance. The property is located at 500 East Dunbarton Road, map 12, lot 25, zoned agricultural.
Thank you once again. Greetings, my name is Chris Drescher. I represent the applicants in this matter. Applicants are Helga Hoffman, Rick Hoffman, Bill Hoffman, and Ken Hoffman. With me is Rick Hoffman and Bill Hoffman. We are requesting a special exception to essentially bless the nonconformity that is 150 feet of frontage where 200 is required. And this one is for lot, this is the one with the house on it. So this is 500. 500, right. 500 East Dunbarton Road. Zone is agriculture, and 500, the tax map for the record is tax map 12, lot 25. It is currently developed with a residential structure that is a dwelling. Again, the most recent deed site is the Hillsborough County Registry of Deeds, book 6307, page 1464. It's dated October 26, 2000. That deed is technically relative to both lots. In 2000, the applicant's mother, Helga, deeded these properties from her to her and her the named applicants, which are her children. Quick online search, there's deeds for this go back to 1940. Tracing it back further would have me have to go in person. All of the deeds going back to 1940 reference East Dunbarton Road, basically bisecting these two lots. And the town has always treated these lots as two. Now the tax records for this one at 500 East Dunbarton do say that the structure that's on there was built in 1880. Now I'm told by my clients that it is livable, but it looks like it was built in 1880. And what the owners would like to do is legitimize the pre-existing nonconformity in order to make these parcels marketable. And that pre-existing nonconformity, of course, is that frontage. If they have all of you bless it, it will make both of these lots more marketable to any prospective buyers, and then those buyers will not have to jump through these hoops as part of any kind of due diligence period. So going to the special exception criteria, section 14.73, the first prong of that is the lot has to have frontage on an accepted street. It does. It is East Dunbarton Road. It just doesn't have the appropriate amount of frontage, but it does have frontage. The proposed use of nonconformity conforms to the front side and rear requirements of your zoning ordinance. As I stated in the previous case, the current structures that are on there are pre-existing nonconforming. They do not, but otherwise, were somebody to come build something new, there would be no issue with compliance with your ordinance. After all, each of these lots is 2.5 acres by themselves. And then the last part of the 14.7.3.3, the accessory buildings not creating additional dwelling unit and not part of the existing principal building on the lot. Again, we don't have any ADUs on this should be a non-issue. Cross-referencing the normal special exception section of your ordinance, 15.3.2. The site is appropriate location for the use, being consistent with the master's plan. Again, this property's been there for well over 100 years at this point and counting. Close to almost 150, really. And there's never been any issue, and it's always been a residential use. The size, frequency of the use will not significantly alter the character of the neighborhood. Again, nothing is changing except a new owner might want to replace a structure on site. The area's residential will remain residential and has always been used for residential lots. Next thing is 15.3.2.1.3. Use will not create a nuisance or hazard to vehicles or pedestrians. Again, pretty rural area of the town, I don't see that's going to be an issue at all. And the lot is sufficient size for adequate and appropriate facilities. Again, each of these lots is 2.5 acres, plenty of room, and the proposed location is sufficient size to allow for the appropriate buffers. Again, if somebody were to build something new, they'd be able to comply with your ordinance, put that thing in the middle of the lot, 2.5 acres, and there'd be plenty of buffering. And if they were just to move into what's there now, well, I would argue that there's still plenty of room out there. It's a pretty rural neck of the woods, so that's all I got.
Any questions, comments, or otherwise? Davis?
So, as compared to the last one, this property, or this lot does have a residential unit on it, which in theory, a buyer could move into without wanting to or needing to destroy or make alterations to. So, where does the need for the special exception arise in this one compared to the one that did not have any sort of residential unit on it?
Again, I'd have to agree with some of the comments you were making. It's like, why do people have to do this for lots of record? But the ordinance is just set up in such a way that it sort of reads like we have to come here and just ask for the sort of sanction, if you will. And having that sanction in place would sort of pave the road for the new buyer to build something new if they wanted to. And if they didn't want to, yeah, they're good to just move into that old house if that's what they want to do. I gotta suspect from what I've been told, I think that structure needs a lot of work. So honestly, I think if I was a prospective buyer, if I'm younger guy, gonna have a family or something like that, I'm probably tearing down and building. But in theory, yes, somebody could just move in and they could probably do that today and there'd be no issue. But we kind of want to make it a possibility for folks to be able to put something there without having to come back and ask for relief from the frontage. Thank you.
It seems like it's grandfathered.
Well, that's what
Like,
Yeah.
this seems superfluous.
I know, it's,
Yeah.
It's in here,
yeah,
so,
it's in the ordinance.
yeah.
I know, it's.
I mean, I live in Brookline, and I'm the town attorney for Brookline, and we had a section for decades and decades, lots of record. You know, if you had a lot of, and I live on one, I live on 0.74 acres, and nothing conforms on my property at all. But I was able to put up a shed and do all this stuff because you got to do whatever you wanted. Along the way, the town actually just very recently legislated in the special exception requirement, simply for the ability so that the boards would at least be able to have a say in some degree of regulation, but not adding that hardship component that comes with the variance. So it's easier to prove as long as you can just check these boxes. So I could sort of see both sides, of the need, but my 2 cents.
Right, someone could move in as it exists. And then if they wanted to add to it, make an alteration, then they need more variances, but this is to give them permission
Yeah, they're gonna have
that,
setback issues.
yeah.
Exactly.
They
So
can
if
use the-
they change anything,
the
somebody
lot
moves
be
in and says, well,
narrower.
geez, now I want to put an extension over here because, a newer extension or something like that. Well, that brings them right back here to ask for frontage relief because of that
Probably be in the
alteration.
front setback or something.
Yeah,
Even though it's
erase-
existing
erase
house, they're
the
adding on
grandfather.
footprint.
Right.
He's gonna flag it saying, no, you're gonna have to go get a variance because you're still in that setback.
Okay, that
If
makes,
they're beyond it, let's say it's a sprawling ranch
right.
and it's 100 feet deep, they might not be in the setback, they don't have to come in front of us for the new footprint. But
Okay, that makes
usually they
sense.
have to,
Yeah.
right.
This is to approve the frontage,
Yep, right,
basically.
right.
Just to get a blessing.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, the structure will remain grandfathered in.
that footprint does, right.
That footprint,
Yeah.
All right,
Well,
and I will
close the hearing.
close the public hearing. Did we do regional impact for this one?
I don't think we did it.
Do we have a motion for regional impact?
I'll make a motion that this does not have a regional impact.
Thank you,
Second.
Bruce. Second from Davis. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Do we have any further discussion or a motion for the special exception?
I'll make a motion to grant the special exception as presented.
Motion by Bruce for as presented,
Second?
second by Len. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Board, appreciate it.
Okey dokey. Moving on. So that one's on December 2nd. So all that's left is correspondence. Everyone should have gotten the map 26, lots 19 and 19-1, correspondence for continuance. We already voted on that.
Yeah.
We've already dealt with the letter. Did that get read into the?
I cited it by
Cited
reference.
it.
It didn't get read into the record, but it was mentioned as part of the record.
The letter of opposition?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's part of the record.
Yeah,
So.
you mentioned that.
Okay, and then everyone should have gotten a copy of the proposed zoning amendments for the November 6th meeting, which is on Thursday.
2 days.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And so I'm gonna do my little plug for the open space committee.
In just a moment.
Okay.
I was going to say that in the message that we got for that, did anybody want to get set up as a representative as the zoning board person
To the workshop.
to the workshop on the 6th?
I've got a meeting in Manchester on Val Street, and I might get over 6:30. I'd like to go only because the open space is part of this as well. So I'll say as a marker, I would like to attend if I can.
Okay.
Make it physically. I'm not sure, I might be half an hour late.
Does anybody else want to represent us as well?
I'm gonna try to get there. I wasn't planning on representing the board, but I'm
Okay.
happy.
What is it? As
She
long as
mentioned
there's
if there
not
was
3 of
three.
us, then we're
Right.
okay. All right, so we just need to keep that in mind, that if there's already interest from Bruce and Charlie, if anybody else goes, we need to let Patty know so that they can indicate that we would have a quorum there. So, actually, I don't think that matters for Charlie because he's an alternate. So, I think it's only full board members,
Full
right?
board members.
So, okay, so I think we're good. All right, now, open space, Bruce.
Yes, so we pretty much wrapped it up and incorporated some of the suggested open space section into the zoning ordinance proposed amendments. So there are others that I'm not going to speak to, because that's coming from the planning board. I could only speak to that, what was it, section 12, I think it was. Yeah. And I'm not even sure where it got inserted here, but we had a little section that got brought up. What was that? Okay, so she's got this drafted for the warrant article.
I hate to say that I don't see it.
Open space, number 8.
Okay.
That's what it was. So it's in red line on this red line one. It's all text.
What page?
It's being proposed, it's the third, 1, 2, 3, 4th page, the double-sided. So it's the second page on the back, and it's the number 8.
Gotcha.
Are you in favor of adoption number 8, to move section 13.5 open space development from section 13 overlay to section 5 supplemental? Then our section came in as 5.25 open space development. So there's a lot, it's not a lot, but it's going to be a pretty lengthy section of the warrant article because it's a lot of rework on it. That's what you're basically looking at as part of the proposed change, really cleaning up of it, really. I will mention that currently we have for multiple residential units, it says, oh, see the open space ordinance. They struck that completely, so multiple single families, not allowed, because it's not addressed. So anybody has multiple is gonna have to come in for a variance. Just by striking that, just as a procedural thing, it's gonna be kind of like, ooh. But, which I always felt confusing when I first started, you know, I was like, multiple residential units, you gotta go to the open space ordinance? Because it said that only applied, open space ordinance only applied for the conservation open agricultural zone. So I was like, well, what happens if somebody's in an R2? It was like, oh, again, I don't write it. we're rewriting it slowly, but
As I go through these, I always expect to find go see section, X, and you go to section X, it says, go see section A. You go back to where you were, but,
roundabout logic. But Kristen and I, sometimes there are a couple references that mention somewhere that's not, for instance, in the supplemental 5.3, it's not there. And I was like, oh, there's it. I will mark it up, but maybe I can bring it to a workshop Thursday. There's one or two I noticed the same
Yeah.
thing.
I've noticed a few references, especially if, and I know from working as an engineer, if there's a reference in a table, it doesn't always automatically update. So especially in our big tables of uses, it'll have all the lists of references, section, this section, this section, and you would go there and you're like, oh, it's one down. And so my biggest question was, do those automatically get looked at as they're doing the red lines, or
They should.
is that
Right.
we have to bring it over and?
we call
and
some of that
call
the
it out?
joys of technology.
Yeah.
Automation at its finest sometimes.
Yep, yeah. That was good. I mean, it was a good committee. They met the deadline. It was to
Yeah, that
get
was,
it done in the fall to present a workable ordinance to update the open space. And a lot of it also references back to planning board development regulations too. So there's a little bit of a tie in there. There's some zoning stuff, but there's also some planning board stuff that kind of references out of the zoning ordinance. So. Out of the sausage.
well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Any other business? Okay, Charlie, you get to vote for this one. Anyone? Motion to adjourn?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Hey, wait, that's my job. So I guess motion by me, second by Bruce, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, have a good evening. All right,
Yeah.
give this
Mechanical.
to Denise. I don't want to see it ever again.